Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to The Day of the Crows. So this is a donation reward movie reaction. It is a donation reward for Space Apples. Thank you for donating. And yeah, I know practically nothing about this movie. I've never heard of it before it was chosen as a donation reward. I think it's a French animated movie, but that's about it. I don't know anything about the plot. I don't know anything about the plot. I don't know anything about the characters or anything. I don't even know what it looks like. Now I do know that the version I got, the version I could find is in a little bit of lower quality, so I apologize for that ahead of time. Um, I couldn't really find a high quality version on short notice. Well, short notice as in I decided to do this today, and it's like I'm getting to it and I have to, get to it. So I had to download it and everything. Um, yeah, so it's just I couldn't find a high quality version quickly. Um, but hopefully, with it being in a smaller screen on the overall screen and everything, in the reaction, it'll be fine. Hopefully. Um, but yeah, without knowing really anything about this, it's like I have nothing to say. I have no predictions. I have no thoughts because again, I know nothing. Um, Even the title is so vague and could mean so many different things. It's like it doesn't actually tell me anything. It doesn't actually explain anything. Like the Day of the Crows could be referencing an event, sure, but what does that event mean? It could mean so many different things. It probably is referencing an event. That's the only thing I could think of it referencing, but still, what does that mean? So it's like I'm going into this as blind as possible. I don't even know when the movie came out. Like I don't even know that much. Um, I know nothing going into this. Um, which I mean I appreciate. Like I always like when I'm going into anything, movies, shows, etc., as blind as possible. And this is definitely pretty much as blind as possible. The only way it could get blinder is if I wasn't if I didn't even know the title. Is if someone just put something on for me and I just had no knowledge of it whatsoever. That would be like the only way this could be blinder to me. um, but yeah. I'm definitely interested to see what this is about, though. Um, as with anything I react to, and hopefully it turns out good. Hopefully it turns out to be really enjoyable. Um, so yeah, we're just going to get this started and find out. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the movie. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. Okay, we are back and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so I want to read something here. This is on IMDb, and it's a review for the movie. It's from someone named Rosanna Botafogo. I'm probably mispronouncing that, so I apologize. But they said here, and this was just like a month ago, June 8th. What a beautiful animation. Cute Tarzan version. Beautiful graphics with all the ingenuity and charisma of the kid, like not falling in love. In a super chemistry with Manu. Lots of mischief and mischief adorable. So, I mean, yeah, there's obviously maybe English isn't this person's first language, and there's some definitely issues with all of that, and they got Manon's name wrong. But I kind of agree with the points being made. And let's start with the Tarzan thing. So, if you don't know, the Disney movie Tarzan, specifically that version, um, when Tarzan is a baby, his parents are killed by a jaguar during an expedition to the jungle. He ends up being raised by this mother gorilla and, well, the tribe of gorillas, basically, or whatever a group of gorillas is called. I don't know. Um, but he ends up being raised by them, and that's just how he lives. He's very much ingrained in the jungle and everything. That's all he knows. So when Jane, her father, and Clayton come along for their research expedition, and he meets and gets to just connect with Jane, he starts to learn all about the more modern outside world. And through that, he ends up having to face down someone who is antagonistic towards him, Clayton, in order to protect what's important to him. Now, there's some obvious differences here with this film. Like, Clayton and his father, and the son's father. The son never gets a name, by the way. He's just referred to by his father as son. Like, even by the end, he never, like, was given a name. But yeah, his father and Clayton aren't really comparable because Clayton was just kind of a jackass. Um, and his father, the son's father in this movie, he he definitely took things too far, but in the end, we find out that he did have his own issues and that there were bad things that were done to him and his wife. Um, so, and in the end, he actually gets a happy ending. So, as kind of sad as it is as well, to be fair. But it is a happy ending for him. While Clayton kind of gets his neck snapped in the end of Tarzan. Uh, Disney movies can be pretty dark sometimes. But the biggest comparisons to be made are between the son and Tarzan himself. Because they're both raised in this very, for lack of a better way to put it, animalistic way. Um, they live in the wilds, they hunt for their food, they're very, I guess you could say, uneducated about a lot of things. Um, though, admittedly, the son in this is a lot more well spoken than Tarzan, but that's mainly because Corge could speak human language more naturally. While with Tarzan, it's like, yeah, the animals could speak, which kind of weird. But Disney, you know. But he only spoke very broken English, and mostly it was what he heard and what he like kind of mimicked from them at first. He did definitely improve upon that throughout the movie through studying with Jane, but still. Um, but yeah, they were both raised that way, and then they both kind of were integrated into modern society. I mean, with Tarzan, it was mostly just through Jane and learning about everything through her slides and whatnot, and showing him all these different tools and everything. Um, while the son got to actually experience it in person. I guess in that way, it's kind of like George of the Jungle, the Brendan Fraser version, that old movie, where he actually goes to the city and everything. By the way, that movie is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Um, but yeah, the son actually gets to go to this small town, this like village-like town, and experience everything. And at first, it's very foreign to him, but because of Manon, he really gets the hang of it eventually. Um, Now, this review also mentions that it's the animation is beautiful, and it is. The animation, it's not the best animation I've seen. This movie came out in 2012, and it feels like it feels like an older movie, like even older than that, honestly, like maybe late 90s, early 2000s. But I think the animation style really fit with this film. It gave it this more artistic, almost kind of watercolor feel to it. It felt very, very calming and relaxing at points, but when the like extreme moments hit, like when Korge was being Korge, when we saw the fires and stuff and all of that, um, yeah, it definitely helped make it feel intense in a way. Um, I liked the characters very much so. Korge had depth to him that we didn't initially see because at first he's just kind of this big ol' like wild brute. But there's always something kind of lingering because the opening scene does definitely make you wonder what the hell's going on. And then as it goes along, you start to see more and more that there is more going on here. And once you find out the backstory, it's really sad. He grew to distrust and hate the civilized world because of how him and his wife had been horribly treated just because they were in love. They were run out of the village. They were attacked. It was attempted murder even. So he grew to hate that and lived outside of it. I don't think it mentioned how the mother died, by the way. I'm not. I don't think it ever actually told us that. Oh wait, no, never mind. I'm an idiot. I it did tell us that. It told us very explicitly. Um, I just it just skipped my mind for a moment because of everything else that was going on. Because there's a lot in this movie that happened. Yeah, the mother died during childbirth. Um, and it's probably because she wasn't able to like give birth in a sterile, safe setting, and if she had like had like the hospital and everything back in the town, it's like she probably would have been able to survive just fine. But it's because of the situation and everything. She died during childbirth, and that probably only made Corge hate people more in a kind of twisted up way with his mindset because he felt like because they drove him out, that's what caused her death. So, but yeah, Corge was definitely a very complex character as we find out by the end, and he even realized that he had become what he was so adamantly against, what he so adamantly hated. And it's kind of a lesson a lot of people have gone through in real life, becoming the thing that they fought against. Um, a lot of people talk about it, especially with the entire parenting thing, with people having abusive parents ending up becoming abusive themselves to their own kids, becoming like just what they were so like hurt by, and it's terrible that those kind of situations exist. And so many people who face those kind of situations try to get out of it, and but it's so ingrained in them, unfortunately, and it's hard for them. And so it's like he realizes by the end that he was in the wrong, and he told his son Enmanon to leave, to go. He sacrificed himself to make sure they got out safe. He made things right in the end, and he got to reunite with his wife. Now, the son had a gift, and I want to talk about this before any other part of him, because it's fresh on my mind. Because talking about Corge and his wife reuniting, the son can see the spirits, and so can Manon, and I think it has to do with their maybe them being children, maybe their personality, their youthful optimism in a way. Um, but they can see the spirits, and the spirits of the dead appear in this as animal human hybrids. They can't speak. They can communicate, but they can't actually speak. And it's throughout the entire movie until the end, until we see that Manon can see them too. The son is the only one we knowingly believe can see them. And so it's like, why does he have this gift? And even when we see the backstory, like when we see the mother die and her spirit rise up with the deer head and everything, it's like you could tell the son saw her there, the way he reacted, and it's really sad. It's really sad that the father couldn't. Another idea as to why it could be is because the idea of love was brought up, and how the father didn't have any love, how Corge didn't have any, that it was gone basically, which yeah makes sense and everything, considering what happened. Maybe that's why he couldn't see, because he had lost that spark of love while the kids still had it. And that's not to say he still didn't love his late wife. He just didn't have that spark anymore. He didn't have he was still so jaded towards the world. Because remember, it was after that that he realized what he had become. It was only after that moment. Now the other human characters, yeah, the soldiers were pretty much just kind of dickish soldiers. They weren't too terrible. I've seen plenty of movies and shows and stuff where soldiers are portrayed worse and everything. They were portrayed a little nicer here, but they were still dicks. That's basically it. They weren't bad guys, but they were dicks. um, the one woman in the village, though, the mother-in-law, basically, of the well, grandmother, basically, of the son, Corge's mother-in-law. Um, she was an asshole. She was just straight up horrible. Um, and really, like, she didn't get any real comeuppance in the end. Her only real punishment was like she got snowballs thrown at her by the crows. It's like, okay. So it's a little disappointing that that nothing more happened to her. Um, but this movie wasn't entirely a revenge story. It wasn't really about that, so I can let it slide. Um, the doctor is great. Manon's father, like, he's so patient, so understanding, so nice and so likable. Like, even with like the dickish soldiers, even with the old lady, he never lost his cool. He never attacked them or was aggressive towards them. He always just he kept a level head and kept calm about it all. He never even like got angry or anything or upset with Manon, like even when and the son, like even when they did what they did to the soldiers and all. It's like he didn't get upset with them. He actually comforted them. He was just a great, nice father character and doctor character. He was just awesome. Um, Now, the movie's tone was very soft. It had a very soft tone, which is why Corge's angry outbursts and stuff very much felt as intense as they did, because it went against basically everything else. Everything else was very soft. Even with the soldiers, even with the old woman, it still had a very light tone to it. It felt very calming and relaxing and very nice and friendly. It didn't have this like extremely high energy, high action. It didn't have like a very intense tone throughout. It was only those moments with courage, really. Um, so it definitely helped it stand out in that way. The music was great. The music was beautiful. None of it really like stood out as phenomenal, but it definitely fit the film. The voice acting was great. That was really good voice acting, though. um, on all levels, everyone's voice acting. I would probably say, though, that the best was Manon. Manon's voice actress did just a fantastic job at portraying multiple emotions, and just she felt like a real character to me, more so than any of the others. Not that any of the others did bad by any means. Just saying. She just felt the most fully realized to me personally. Um, yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. Like even early on in the movie, I was like wondering, like, what am I going to end up thinking about this? But I really did enjoy this, much more so than many other movies I've reacted to or just seen in general. In fact, I'd say this is up there with some of my favorite movies I've seen this year. It's not the best. It's not the best animated movie I've seen. It's not the best um, just movie I've reacted to on this channel. But it's up there, more so than I ever thought it would be. The title is maybe a little misleading because the Day of the Crows, it's like, yeah, I get what it means now, but the title could have been something else, honestly. It just felt like that was altogether kind of minor in comparison to what the movie was actually about. Um, but yeah, it's like I really liked it. I liked the characters. I liked the story. The pacing was great. It just felt so perfect in terms of its pacing. Like I really had no issue with that. If I had to say any issues I had with this, I wish the son did get a name in the end. Um, not just because it feels weird just calling him the son or whatnot, but because it would have allowed him to feel like, not only from his character but for us as viewers, it would help him feel more like he's become someone by the end. And he's definitely grown and he's definitely changed and become someone, but you know what I mean. It's like it would make him feel more like he started off this movie as the son, and by the end he's I don't know. I can't think of a name at the top of my head. I don't know. My mind is thinking of Pip Bernadotte from Helsing Ultimate. I don't know why, but let's just say Pip. By the end, he's Pip or something. But you get the idea. By the end, he has more of an identity to himself. He's become more knowledgeable and ingrained in this modern culture, in this civilized culture. And he is someone now. He's not just the son. Um, I think that would have helped a little bit more. Also, I kind of wish that they went a little more into Corge's backstory, because all we really saw was that they were run out of the village because the parents disagreed with Corge being with their daughter. They were run out of the village. The father had accidentally set fire to the barn. The mother died in childbirth while they were living in the forest, and Corge became hardened and untrustworthy because of it. That's pretty much his entire backstory. And it's like I just wish there was more. Like I wish there was like maybe something about like not just the parents but others finding their relationship to be bad and maybe them being attacked and um insulted and maybe even looked down upon by other villagers more so. Just something more to give a little more reason, I guess, for Corge to hate the entire village rather than just, his wife's family, because really that's all it was. It was just his wife's parents that ran him out. I don't know, it just felt like he overreacted. And yeah, he did overreact. I mean, no matter what, he overreacted, but still. I just kind of wish there was more to it, you know? Um, I like the Sun and Manon's relationship as it ended. There were hints of that Manon kind of had maybe a little bit of feelings for him, but it never actually went into a full blown romance or anything. I mean, one, they're kids. To be fair, it's like one, the son probably doesn't even understand that, and Manon, it's just like she has a little bit of a crush on him, and it's cute. It's nice. It's enjoyable to watch, and it's very heartwarming. But it's like it doesn't need to go anywhere beyond that. It's nice as it is. And since the movie's not really about that, anyways, it would kind of feel out of place. So I really like that they did that, that they handled the relationship like that. Um, and yeah, it's just like I really have no other major issues with the film. Um, I think it was just really good. So thank you to Space Apples for choosing this as your donation reward. I really appreciate it. I would have never seen this movie otherwise, because again, as I said in my pre thoughts, I had never heard of this movie before. Like, not even in passing. Not I just never heard of it before. So it's like I would have never seen this if not for this donation reward. Um, but yeah, yeah. Uh, there will be more donation reward movies coming in the future, as with all of our donation reward movie reactions. Those ones are just kind of like we get to whatever one that I'm feeling in the mood with. There's no real order that I go with on the movie ones, like with the shows. Um, it's just okay. I'm feeling in the mood for this movie today, or whatnot. Today I was feeling in the mood for something animated, and so I chose to do this one. And it's like, yeah, I'm really happy I did. Um, but yeah, we'll be getting to the other donation movie reactions. So if you're still waiting for yours, do not worry, they are still coming. I think there's like two or three more that are on my list currently. I can actually check right now. I have it up. Da, 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 da. Yeah, there are two more: Rim of the World and The Greatest Showman. Those are the only other two movies I currently have. As always, if you ever wish to donate, you can feel free to do so. Just get in touch with me in the comments here or somewhere else. You can donate at any time. And you can, if you want to see me react to any certain movies or whatnot, that's the best way to do it. Because I mean, outside of this kind of stuff, it's like really rare and just kind of randomly spread about when I would react to movies otherwise. So yeah. Either way, tell me down in the comments what you thought of the Day of the Crows, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.